Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert got crushed by Jamie Raskin on the House floor. And it was really fun to watch, I gotta tell you. So to give you the context here, and then we'll dive into the series of events. Jamie Raskin was making a request and explaining to Republicans the way that the party Jamie Raskin is in, the Democratic Party, is properly said. Because you hear, and this is something I've mentioned on the show before, you hear Republicans always say the Democrat Party or the Democrat agenda or whatever it might be. The Democrat Congress person. And that's just not correct. It's not the biggest deal. It's the same thing when I correct Tucker Carlson, who's always saying Kamala, and it's actually Kamala. I'm not saying this is the biggest issue in the world, but it's just strange that someone who covers American politics every single day can't pronounce the vice president's name. It's almost like he's doing it on purpose. Same thing here. Not the biggest deal, but it is strange that literal politicians can't properly name one of, wait for it, the two parties in America within Congress and stuff. So, I mean, you have, you know what I mean? Republican, Democrat, they can't even get Democratic Party correct. But that's okay. We understand people are lifelong learners, we'll say, who keep choosing not to learn. It's strange. So here was the initial moment from Jamie Raskin. Then we'll see Lauren Boebert's response, and then we'll see another Jamie Raskin moment.
To make just a brief semantic point, because the gentlelady was making a grammatical error that I heard some of her colleagues make before. I believe she referred to a Democrat solution. I heard another member talk about a Democrat member and a Democrat plan. I just wanted to educate our distinguished colleagues that Democrat is the noun. When you use it as an adjective, you say the Democratic member, or the Democratic solution, or the Democratic plan. And so I assume it's a good faith grammatical error the first few times. But after people are corrected several times and they continue to say it, it seems like it's an act of incivility, as if every time we mentioned the other party, it just came out with a kind of political speech impediment like, oh, the Banana Republican Party, as if we were to say that every time we mentioned the Banana Republican member or the Banana Republican plan or the Banana Republican Conference. But we wouldn't do that. So out of pure political courtesy, when it's an adjective, refer to the Democratic Congresswoman or the Democratic member. Having said that, I'd like to say that I favor the Boebert amendment.
Okay. So, very good. Explaining how to properly say Democratic Party. Well, Lauren Boebert said, you know what? Call us Ultra MAGA now that we're talking about how to say names of members and such.
That was great. We are addressed as MAGA extremists, extreme MAGA Republicans. And I would like to make just a clarification point. It's Ultra MAGA. That's what we prefer. Yes.
Nailed it. Okay, so she wants to go by Ultra MAGA, and Jamie Raskin comes out, and it looks like the next day, different outfit, and decides, you know what, if we're all changing our names, if you just can't get Democratic Party and you want to be Ultra MAGA, then we're going to be this. We're going to change our name to this.
You know, we started this series of amendments by talking about the fact that they have this self-imposed political speech impediment. They can't correctly pronounce the name of our party in its adjectival form. But you know, I thought of a solution to this, because I was reading a great book by H.W. Brand about Franklin D. Roosevelt called Traitor to His Class. And in the book, he's got a bunch of Roosevelt's speeches. And you know what President Roosevelt called our party? Not the Democratic Party, much less the Democrat Party. If you can't pronounce it, do what Roosevelt did. He called us the democracy. The democracy. He said, the economic royalists, the corporate plutocrats, say you invest in the wealthiest people in society, some of the wealth will trickle down on everybody else. But the democracy says you invest in the great working middle class of America, we will all rise and prosper together. That's the doctrine of the democracy. If you can't pronounce the name of our party, just call us the democracy. That's what we are today, because we defend the right to vote, and we defend free and fair elections, and we stand by the results of elections. And we defend not only the country and our democratic allies all over the world, as in Ukraine, we defend this body, we defend this chamber, we defend the capital of the United States, and we defend the interests of the working majority of Americans. So the American people are not asking for more reports and more bureaucracy, they're asking for action. And that's what the Biden administration and Democrats in Congress are giving them.
Woo! Now that is how you do it, ladies and gentlemen. Taking this moment that was kind of relatively unimportant, very unimportant, of Lauren Boebert thinking she's clever, taking the term that Biden had once coined them and saying, we are ultra MAGA, and then Jamie Raskin requesting that they know how to say the name of one of the two parties, and it obviously isn't going to work. They're still going to call it Democrat Party, and going, you know what? Here's what you could call us, and laying out the very real reality, the very present reality within our country right now, which is that right now, one party, and this isn't something we should have to give a party credit for. This is the bare bleeping minimum, but this is what we do have to give the Democratic Party credit for, which is that they're for our democratic process. They're for the legitimacy of our elections. They're for telling the truth about the legitimacy of our elections and respecting who wins elections, and not saying that the only way you can be, or the only way a fair election can be run is if our party wins. The Democratic Party, or as you say, the democracy, is able to do that. While the Republican Party, the ultra MAGA individuals, is not. Right now, they've convinced 60% of their voters to believe the election was stolen. They continue to tell lies. And now we know that some of the largest perpetuators of those lies that now have been bought into by so many people didn't even believe them while they were going on air and saying them. And all these different things. Raskin took this as an opportunity to turn it around and make a very important point about the reality of the two parties right now. And before the democracy component of it, just saying economically, separate from this assault on our democratic elections that's going on, the economic fights that either party is behind. Republicans for generations now have been saying, if you just let us try one more time to give as much money and wealth to the powerful as possible, I promise, oh my gosh, it'll rain down on you peasants. If we give enough money to the wealthy, you can take a shower in a little bit of that wealth, if you are so lucky. Come on, it's going to be great. And it just doesn't work time and time again, but they keep putting it forward. Trump, massive tax cut. They talk about caring about the debt and the deficit. It jacked up the deficit to do what? Disproportionately give more wealth to those who are already wealthy. And the slogan, the honest slogan of the Republican Party should be, make the powerful more powerful, make the wealthy more wealthy, because that's what they fight for every single day. They pretend to care about all these different things, and they scream about, I don't know, Legos going woke, and Mr. Potato Head is now, I don't know, and Hunter Biden's laptop is the reason for global hunger. And then while they're doing that, they're trying to do as much as possible behind the scenes to help the wealthy become even more wealthy. Meanwhile, the Democratic Party, which has tons of problems and too often is on board with some of the actions that benefit those who are already powerful, is the only party that at least often members within this party are putting forward actual solutions, actual proposals for benefiting the majority. As Jamie Raskin said, the working class in America. And every single day that needs to be screamed from the rooftops.